My name is Meliah Capers. I have been at Redeemer since 2010, I believe. That was the first 9 lessons and carols I did, and that's kind of how I think of how long I've been here. Our last day in office was March 16th, I remember, because it was my sister's birthday. And it was me and 2 other people on my team actually went into the office because on Friday, everyone was freaking out, rightly so. And they're like, if you want to work from home, just work from home. Like, you don't have to come back into the office. And I was like, it's fine. Like, wash your hands. Don't touch your face. And so I went to the office, and it was me, one of my friends, and one of my other coworkers. And I was like, okay, so this is super weird. Like, people are serious about that. And our HR department, bless them, were just like updates every like half an hour with something new. And by the end of the day, I don't even think we made it to the end of the day. It was like 3:00. They were like, if you need a monitor, grab a monitor. But like, it's time to go home and don't come back. So I have been working from home since March 17th. And it was a madhouse because, you work for a grocery delivery service in the middle of a stay-at-home or shelter-in-place order. Everybody is trying to get toilet paper. There was no toilet paper in the entire month of March anywhere. But it was like we were crazy busy for like all the rest of March, all of April. And I'm just like in my living room, it was so strange because I had so much work to do, but like people were losing jobs and like restaurants were closing, and I'm like, they're telling us like overtime, and it was so strange. And so in that regard, it was different. Like the work itself was different. Being at home was different. Not being able to go anywhere was different. And then it got to a point where I like realized that it wasn't just like wash your hands, don't touch your face. It was, I don't know, it just like everybody else's kind of anxiety made me anxious about it. And so I lived by myself, and I was like, okay, I'll just stay in here, just me and my dog hanging out. And so the first, I would say month, maybe 2 months was kind of nice because I had plenty of work to do. So I was distracted. I didn't have to worry about like a roommate going in and out and just like being ridiculous. That was nice. But then it hit like May, and I was like, wow, we are still here. Like the sameness of it all really, really kind of slammed into me in May. And that's when it was just like no time meant nothing. It was either daytime or nighttime. And so when people were like, oh, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm like, what is tomorrow? Like, are you talking about daytime or nighttime? Daytime, I'll be working. Nighttime, I'll probably be watching TV, trying to decompress from the stress of this global pandemic that we're all a part of. And being a person, like I am single, I live by myself, so it is literally just me all the time. Just me and my dog, who refuses to speak. I know that he knows English, and he just won't talk to me. So it's just me and my dog, and like very thankful I have a dog, but also would love to have another person to talk to. It's like there will be whole weeks where it's just like, have I spoken to another person this week? I don't know. I can't recall. So that's been a little hard, but I don't want to shrug that off. That has actually been pretty hard. And I am working through it every day. I miss like physical touch. That's one of my love languages, and it's so hard to be like, hello from afar. Like, please don't come close to me, but know that I want to give you a hug. Like, it's always been a thing. As a single person, I've been single and by myself for a very long time. It's one of the things that I like struggle with the most is loneliness, and like there will be times even before now where I'm like, I haven't had contact with anyone in 2 weeks, and that's just all the time for me. And now that's just been my life. And so sometimes I'm like, do I exist? Am I really here right now? I am confident in that, but it's still just like so strange to not have just even that simple like connection with someone. So I'm like missing out on community in so many different realms, that's been a super hard part of this whole thing, is that loss of connection at work, with my home group, at church. I remember a couple of years ago, I was eating with Melissa Niven, who is a wonderful human person. And she said, we were designed to be in community. We are not really meant to eat alone. And I mean, this was like 5 years ago, and I still remember that. And I think that the amount of meals that I eat alone, like I can't spend too much time on that thought because it would just crush me. But that's one thing, like the simple act of like sharing a meal with someone is not really something that I can easily do now, which just is so like, it feels unfair. This is one thing that I like have heard myself talk about in home group. This notion that like we should all be fine, just you and the Lord. Like as a single woman, especially in the South, it's like at a certain age, you know, where's that husband? I don't know where he is. But, you know, we tend to want to connect with another person to like find our value, our worth, our, you know, sense of self. And in home group, it's a lot of like, I really wish I had a husband. Like, I'm longing for a husband, which is not a bad thing, of course. But it's also like, if one never comes, will I be okay? Just me and God. And in the grand scheme of life, the answer is yes. But like the day-to-day grind, it's like, I mean, probably. Like, I would say probably 9 times out of 10, it's going to be fine. But that one time when it's like 10 out of 10, yes, I will be fine. And so in this season, God is really showing me that it's just me and him. And sometimes that's super great. The Lord has been so sweet to me. And I would be remiss not to mention this, like to keep me uplifted. So when this all started, that was the first thing I was worried about, was my loneliness, because I've struggled with it since college. I'm many years out of college, but like I've always really had a problem with like being alone, and just feeling like that's always going to be my life. So when this first started, I was like, oh crap, like I live by myself. I will literally be alone. And so I told my family, I told my home group, I told my friends, I even told like some of my coworkers. I was like, guys, I'm super concerned about all of this time that I will be by myself and how that will look for me, because it can really like bring me down. I call it a spiral, where like something triggers you and it's just like everything is terrible. And the Lord has been so sweet, because I have not had a single spiral this whole time. And I'm so thankful for everyone who's prayed for me about it, because it could be the slightest thing, like literally the smallest thing. The other day I made dinner and I had too much food, and I was like, who's going to eat the rest of this food? Like, it's going to go bad. And that could easily be like, I'm alone, no one will ever eat food with me, blah. And like down the spiral I go. And that hasn't happened. And I feel so protected in that. Like the people that I told immediately started praying, and the Lord was like, I got it. Don't worry. We're not going to let that happen. Because again, I live by myself. And if I hit a hard one, who would be able to help me out of it? So that has been something that I have been seeing. I would love to say every day, all day, but it's just like in those moments where I have too much food. Or the other day I ordered Bath and Body Works candles, and there was no one there to smell my candles. I had really good ones and no one could appreciate them with me. Like those things could really like send me down the rabbit hole. But they didn't. I mean, I know that it is in the Lord. I know that it is by his grace and mercy that I am able to function right now. Because I know myself and I know how hard this would be for me if I was like truly alone, if I didn't have my faith, if I didn't have hope that this will come to an end at some point. Who knows when? God knows when. Well, timeline would be great, but so yeah, I know me enough to know that I would be despondent if I did not have faith in what the Lord is doing, what he's teaching all of us in this weird season. And like, my life does not end here in my apartment. Even if I'm in my apartment until 2022, please no. Like, I will be okay. And that's like, that can only be because the hope I have in what the Lord is able to do, like in his sovereignty over all of this, especially now because we got nonsense going left and right here in good USA. Just I hope is in Jesus. Like, Jesus is still Jesus and he is good always. And that has to be. Because if it's situational, goodbye. Like, this is the worst. It's the worst situation that a person could be in. So I am hopeful in at least my ability to like navigate this, but even more so in God's ability to have control over all of this nonsense. But there is a lot of nonsense going on. But what happened was on my way to the like church service I went to, I was singing in the car and I remember thinking to myself like, hey, I don't sound so bad. Like, I'm pretty good at this. And that was, I think, the first day that they were doing like rehearsals. And Joel had said like, anybody who can sing or even if you can't, like come do the rehearsals. And I was like, oh man, like I literally just said that I could sing. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. But I like was by myself and, you know, I was getting nervous because we still had to like put our chairs away. So everybody was putting their chairs away and chit-chatting. And I was just standing there by myself and I was like, oh, I think I'm just going to go. But then Lauren Brooks was like, Meliah, hi, because she knew me from UCF. And I was like, hi. She's like, are you staying for choir? And I was like, oh my gosh, the pastor's wife has called me out. I can't leave now. And so I stayed. And that's how that happened. So that was cool. Like, there's a lot of little spots where I could have easily just been like, goodbye forever. But instead, I stayed.